Alright, I'm excited to show you this new camera here from Eufy Security. Now this one is a floodlight camera. It's really designed to replace an existing floodlight, but now you are adding a lot kind of smarts and intelligence and security along with it. So in this video I will break it down into different chapters, so it's easy for you guys to skip ahead to a specific section if you want to. But I will go through some features of it right now. I will talk about the unboxing, what it all includes, and some additional details about the camera. We'll do the setup procedure for the first time where I actually use my tablet to set up the camera for the first time. I'll install it on the side of my barn, and then I'll do some testing with it as well to show you that. So stay tuned to watch all that, or skip ahead if you don't want to. So first off, the camera overall, this is one of many cameras that Eufy Security offers, and as I mentioned, this one is really designed to go where a current floodlight is, and that means that it's hardwired. There's no battery inside, no solar panel. They have other cameras, and I've reviewed actually several of them. If you want to have a different setup that's completely wire-free or a different purpose. So this one has a couple really trick features on it, and these are new to Eufy. They just got released. One of them, it has two cameras. So it has two cameras on the lens, and then a part of that, it also has panning and tilting capability with artificial intelligence tracking. So they can actually detect a person, let's say, and then track them and move around automatically to make sure they stay in frame and recorded the entire time. It does some other things there for artificial intelligence where it can detect vehicles, pets, that kind of stuff. And all that is built in locally to the device itself. You can also pair it to one of their home-based devices, which will give you additional AI capability and additional storage capacity. Or if you don't want to do that, it can all be locally onto here. There are no monthly fees. You can avoid any kind of a cloud-based service if you don't want it. I personally don't pay for the cloud service. Some people do want it, and that is an option here. But that's one of the reasons I really do like their stuff, is all the features that they have on there. Now the other thing that this obviously has built in, is being a floodlight, is it has a light. And so the light is actually two separate panels of LEDs, and those are adjustable up, down, left, right, that kind of stuff. And they give you 2,000 lumens of light. I'll show you some examples of how bright they are later in the video. But that's a really good functional floodlight camera just by itself. And but the addition of some of the artificial intelligence, the panning and tilting, the 3x optical zoom that they have, and then they further have a 8x zoom. So they'll do a digital zoom from the 3x to the 8x, and they'll kind of blend the image from the 1x wide angle lens to the 3x lens and then to the 8x. So when you look at it in the live view, you can't tell that you're going to these different views per se. You're just zooming in on the camera lens there, and it does all the thinking for you. So that's a really neat setup. So let's kind of go through a little bit of the unboxing, what's included, and how do you set it up. Alright, let's open it up and see what's in the box. Alright, so here it is. There's not a lot in the box, and it's all because it's all pretty well assembled here. This back plate does come off, it slides off, and then this gives you access to the wiring here. It is really designed to attach to the regular US round junction box. So you have a couple of these slots in here, and you can pick which ones line up best with the holes, and then screw them to that. And then what's nice about this Eufy stuff is they do give you this S hook, and this is really designed to hook on to that junction box and then hook on to the camera here, so that you have two hands free when you're up on a ladder to try to get your wiring hooked up. If you ever played the game of trying to hold something and get it wired up, having a hook like that is actually quite a nice feature here. And then there are screws that go into the side here to keep that secure, so that it doesn't can't take it off of the wall or the ceiling wherever this is placed. Now it's set up by default to go onto a wall or a vertical surface. If you do want to mount this on like underside of a eave or some other ceiling, this does actually come off. You can pop this off here, and then this big screw comes off, and this mounting bracket can then switch, and it gets attached to the top side. So then you can mount this to a horizontal surface. So it can be mounted either way based off your needs there. And in fact, I think they are going to have a cable that gives us a standard 110 outlet plug. So even if you don't have a junction box that's hardwired, if you are within 20 feet of a outlet that you can plug it into, that will be an option to use as well. They'll have a kit that you can buy to do that. Alright, so on the bottom of the camera there's actually a silicone flap that comes out. This is where your micro SD card goes. This gives you onboard storage here. Now of course, if you don't want to have your storage right here on the camera, you can pair this with a home base, like a home base 3, and that will give you terabytes, or potentially terabytes of data if you have a hard drive in there like I do. I think I have a 1 terabyte hard drive in there. So that's my plans, to pair it with a home base 3. And that does give you some more options as far as control and artificial intelligence. But otherwise, I mean, either way, it does not need to go to the cloud for artificial intelligence. That is processed locally on the camera or locally on your home base. So that's some of the cool features, and we'll get into kind of what all it offers. For the setup here, I can actually plug in a USB-C plug right here, and that will give the camera power to start up and do the setup. So I can get it all synced and set up while it's down here, easy to do on the desk, and then we can go install it outside. Alright, so we just plugged it in there. Now I'm going to go into my Eufy app. Alright, if you haven't downloaded the Eufy security app or have any other of their cameras, then you'll need to do that, and you might have to create an account as well quickly. I've already done that, so I'm just going into the app. I hit the plus symbol in the top right, and now it's showing me to add a device. So I know this is a outdoor floodlight camera, so I'm going to click floodlight camera here, and then we know that this one is the E340 floodlight camera, so we're going to click on that one, and then I'm going to add it to my existing home, and then now it says to scan the QR code on the box or the device. Alright, it's just telling me to plug it in. I waited till it's blue and it's already doing that. Now we'll press that little tiny sync button that's right beside the power. Alright, there we go. We got our beep. So now it's going to be connected to it. Now this camera is one of their ones that connects to both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. With the higher end cameras that have 3K or 4K resolution, probably is a good idea to go to the 5K or 5 gigahertz if you have that option with a good signal. If not, 2.4 can work just fine.
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Please wait. Setup was successful.
Alright, that was pretty quick and easy. Now you can give it a custom name if you want to. Alright, so now it's been added to my app, and so I can actually look at it. And I can click go to the installation. It's going to walk me through here what I can do, what to watch out for. Obviously, when you have this one hardwired, it's going to tell you to be careful not to shock yourself, so turn off the breaker. And then here it's going to tell you to go through these different setups where you can do the wall mounting or ceiling mounting, as I talked about before. Here it tells you to put about 8 feet high off the ground. That's the best field of view and angle for all your detection devices. Here it does, now I pretend like I installed it, so it does a test signal. It says I have great signal, but because I'm right down here. We'll go through all these settings here once we get it installed. So let me go get it installed for real, and then we'll do that. Okay, let's go through a couple of the features actually before I go and install it. This head here can obviously rotate around almost 360 degrees, and then it can also look up and down a lot as well. So that's how it can get a really good view of wherever it's mounted, and as well as track objects as they go across there. In the bottom, like I showed you, there's the SD card, there's a sync button, and then there is a USB power port for it as well. And then here you have the two cameras. So this is really neat because it actually has two different field of views. One is a 135 degree wide angle 3K resolution camera. The other one is a 3x optical zoom. And then they allow you to view that footage, and it blends, what they call it, a hybrid zoom, where it will go from the 1x to the 3x, and then it'll do a further up to 8x digital zoom on top of the 3x optical that it already has. And then as far as sensing goes, it does use the view of the cameras to detect motion and go to them, but it also has PIR motion sensors, which is kind of like a standard motion sensing light. So it can use those to turn on the floodlights, and then it can use those to also help guide the camera where to look for. And this has a wider field of view than the camera itself does. So there's times that the PIR will detect something, and then the camera would go and look at that to do the recording and also to turn the lights on and off. These are easily adjustable. There are no tools needed to adjust them. They're basically just friction, where they do stay put once you put them in the position or orientation that you do like. These are bright lights. We'll go there and test them, of course, but it's 2,000 lumens that they advertise, so 1,000 lumens a piece. So that's a pretty impressive light output that they do have. Now, what else does it have on here? It does have a speaker and microphone. So there's a speaker coming out of the camera right there. The microphone is actually, I think, right in the middle of this power head here. Then there is a little status LED light there as well that can help indicate if there's a problem or if it's detecting motion or whatnot. You can actually turn that off in the settings as well if you would like to. Alright, well, let's go install it, and then we'll have to go through some of the different features and setups, and as well as the footage for it. Alright, so here's a Ring floodlight camera that I'm going to replace. This already had a round electrical box there. This was a floodlight before, and I do like having these out here because they still give me the motion sensing light. So when I walk up to this barn, the lights kick on, and it doesn't need, you know, obviously sun, although this has plenty of sun here. And it doesn't need batteries, so we'll just take this Ring one off, put this Eufy one on, and see how it does. This one does not have any tracking or anything like that, so I'm really looking forward to this upgrade, as well as the white actually matching a little bit better with my building. Alright, so this one you just feed the wires through. Obviously have the circuit off or the light switch off, and then it does have an up arrow that you want to do, so I'll just feed those through. Alright, so this way the hook can come in handy because now you can use both your hands for actually attaching these wires to each other. So obviously I'm on the ground, so it's not that hard. If you're on the ladder, it's a little bit harder. But you just attach the black to black, and then the white to white, and the bare to the green. Alright, so now we have that. We can take the hook away, and I can feed these wires back in somewhere to the box so that they're out of the way. Alright, then it has the two side screws that go in to secure it. Alright, so now that I have it all connected, I'm going to go ahead and put the light switch back on. I can see that little light coming on. Now, since I already set it up for the Wi-Fi, it should automatically connect out here. Alright, so a quick note on comparison of the Ring to this Eufy cam. You know, they're both, I would say, fairly easy to install. They both have the backing plate that goes on, and then the camera attaches to it. The Ring has two nuts that go on it. The Eufy has two screws. The one thing I will say that the Eufy has an advantage here is the lights. They are kind of infinitely adjustable, where you can adjust them very easily without any tools or any types of tightening. And they have stayed put here, where they don't move even in high wind. The Ring has, I mean, they're nice, they're sturdy metal attachments here, but they only have a few notches. So for me, I actually found I was kind of between two different notches because you have to move it. I don't know how many degrees it is, probably about 10 degrees steps that it has. So you have a little bit more limitation there. And then as far as trying to get them to go more to the side, since it's at an angle, when you loosen this up and turn this, you're getting it to turn at the same time you're going to the side. So in some ways it's a little bit more difficult to get the light just where you want it, but overall I was able to get this pretty much what I wanted to do. Another note though is the Eufy lights are much broader of a floodlight. These are really more of a spotlight, I would say, and I found I couldn't light up this entire area with the Ring, whereas this one certainly lights up a very more of a flood pattern versus a spot pattern. So overall, I like these lights better. Install, I give it kind of a tie, but that's just my notes real fast on the difference between the Ring and the Eufy one. Alright, so we can see that I already got some alerts there that just happened. So I can go in here to the Eufy app and make sure that it's set up. Alright, so let me just go in here and hit play. This is the first time I fully set this up. Alright, there we go. You can see it's working. and it should be, tracking me automatically if I have that set. Let me go in here to the settings and just make sure I have it all set up here. So I'm going to go ahead and do these other types of motions as well so that I can get them all working. Alright, so I need to set a preset position. Right now you can see it's calibrating the head to make sure it knows how to move. Alright, so this is a good preset position. Actually, it's probably straight ahead. Maybe I'll go a little bit to the left to get a little bit more, and I'll set that. And that will be now my default position that will be set in the camera. But if I want to have it, look all the way to the side, or like, for example, look at this door to see if the door is open there, I could preset that as a position to look at. Alright, so I set that one. Now I can go over here and I can look at the other way if I want to. I can hit that as a plus sign. This one isn't too unique of a area. Most of mine is looking straight ahead, but for you, you might have like a porch or a yard or a house or a door to look at, so you can set that up here. So now that's all set. We'll go back. Now we'll do the activity zone. Alright, now so for me, I'm going to leave it as everything, but you could go in here and you can add activity, and you can change the shape of this to however you want. You can put 3 of these if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it as everything because I want it to detect any motion there. And then sensitivity, we'll leave it there. AI tracking, that was off. We're going to turn that on. So now we're going to have so the camera actually tracks the movement if it finds something. Detection range. This one I do on the out of view range. That's going to use these PIR sensors up here on the outside. For left and right, it'll still detect motion, and then it'll turn the camera toward there. And this is kind of interesting because it shows you how it's going to go and look on the left side and the right side if it detects a motion over there. So that's kind of neat because specifically if you had your camera higher or lower, you could go up or down depending on what you wanted to do. So we'll just set that like that. Alright, so now it has that, and then I can adjust how far away for this. I have no problem with it going far away because I'm out here in the middle of nowhere and there's no pedestrians or sidewalks or anything. All this is my property, so I want to detect as far away as possible. Alright, pan and tilt, you can change your speeds. Probably middle is just fine with me. Preset positions you already done. Auto cruise, you could tell it to automatically cruise around and look at different things throughout the day. I'm not going to have mine do that. You can see it's detecting me and alerting me that there's a person here. Video settings, black and white night vision. I'm going to have it be color, which is going to activate the light. View mode, I'm going to do the dual modes. That has the zoomed in inset. Alright, streaming quality, I'm going to force it to 3K. I should have the Wi-Fi and the internet speed to support that, so I'm going to leave it at that even though it uses more data. And then recording obviously is on the 3K automatically. You can do continuous recording here if it's paired up. It can store it on deck on the camera itself, but also to like a home base. Alright, privacy zones would be if you wanted it to not record a certain space, you'll block it out and it'll never record that image. Rotate 180, this would be obviously if the camera was upside down or something, you wanted to rotate the image 180 degrees. Alright, audio settings, microphone, audio's on, that's good, that's how I want it. Notifications, I really like this because maybe I want it to record the deer and the turkeys and stuff that walk by, but I might not want it to push notifications to me, so I can turn those off, and I can have it only show me when a vehicle or a human comes by. So, that might be something that I do. Certainly I'm going to do all other motion I'm not going to do. And then here, the interval time is another nice thing. So if you have, I get a lot of wildlife out here. I get a squirrel running around. If I don't want it to notify me every time, I can say, hey, wait 5 minutes before you notify me again that there's something out there. For the notification, I'm going to do the full effect, which is my favorite setting type. That's where it's going to send you a push notification first, like it just did here. Saying that someone's been spotted, and then when the thumbnail is available, it normally takes a second or two, then it should send you the thumbnail as well. Alright, general, I can hear and make sure that my connection is good. We'll see what it says has a great connection, so I'm happy with that. If not, I could change it if I needed to. Alright, here's what the live view looks like when I run around and it's automatically tracking. There we go. Alright, so I've had the camera set up there for a while and I've been testing it, and it is working just as I hoped it would, and that is very well. It is detecting different animals, it is detecting cars, people. In fact, I'm really impressed with how far away it detects people. You know, really my setup is not ideal in that my camera is almost directly in line with my driveway that comes back there to that barn. And typically, if you know anything about security cameras, they typically do better detecting things going side to side than straight at them. Just by the way the processing of the image change goes. But this one, even when I was walking, you know, so therefore kind of a slow moving object from far away, it started picking me up like 70 feet away in the daytime. And some of that could be that it does pre-recording. So you know when it's kind of always I guess kind of recording, and when it detects something, it does some pre-recording that it saves, so that if it didn't detect the motion right when it happened, you can kind of see what happened. But so when I was walking towards, I was impressed with how far away it detected me, and then it tracked me until I went out of frame or past the building. So I thought that was very good. And then I did a couple tests kind of inadvertently with multiple objects. That's one of the questions I get a lot on some of these panning and tilting tracking cameras is how, if there's more than one person, how does it know what to track? And I'm not exactly sure on the answer. What I can tell you is that it tends to kind of go for the biggest object, is what it appears like it does to me. But in this case, I had lots of turkeys coming by, and there are times when maybe it looks like it's a little bit guessing as far as which turkey should it follow the most. But that's only fair because I don't know how else you would do this. If you had lots of objects going across the screen, it would have to decide there. So it does work well for that. It tracks the deer, the turkey, me, vehicles, everything I've sent past it is detected and tracked. So I think it works well. If there's one caveat I did have that's a little bit of a annoyance, or maybe like a bug or something they'll fix maybe later, is you have the two different camera views, and however whatever mode you have it set up so that you can do the live view in the app, if you have the dual mode, then when you record the footage, or when it records the footage, it's going to record the dual mode footage, which means that you don't get the full 3K resolution because it's two images or two videos stacked on top of each other. And then if you do the single view mode, where you only have one, it appears to only store the wide angle lens. What I would really like is the option to get that 3x optical zoom recording as well as a separate file. And I haven't seen the ability to do that yet. And if that is something they can add in later, that would be something that I would think would be really nice. Because there are sometimes, maybe if there is a person or a vehicle, and the 3x optical zoom gives you better clarity of a face or a license plate, something like that. That would be nice to have versus not having it. So that's probably my only complaint I've had so far with the camera. Other than that, it seems to work well. It detects the motion, it sends the alerts to my phone quickly, and I really like that they don't have any monthly subscription fees. Um, that and all these different features that they've had, they have kept adding some features for like the detection that I kind of showed you, where you have different options for sensitivity, of options for how often it repeats a detection or a recording if something keeps moving in front of it, and then the options like continuous recording if you really want it. They really offer all of the features I want. It means maybe the setup's a little bit more complicated because you have to tweak some of these settings to get them just right for what your specific needs are. But I think it's a really great camera. I would recommend it, and I actually plan to probably put another one up on my property as well. Alright, so if I missed any things that you still have questions about, or if you have another comment that you want to share, please do put it down below in the comments. And of course, hit that thumbs up button if you enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.